So students, the first market form that we are going to discuss is your perfect competition. I have already given you the overview of the perfect competition, that what it is, that it is an extreme situation, it is an extreme market form. Now let us discuss perfect competition deeply. Okay, we will discuss its meaning and we will discuss its characteristics. Okay, so what perfect competition is? Okay, whenever we will define any market form, we define it that how many what is the number of buyers and sellers in that market, what types of goods they are producing, okay, and what is their power to influence the market price. So basically, whenever you define any market form, these 2-3 things have to be included in the meaning or definition of any market form. So while defining perfect competition, we say that perfect competition is that market structure in which there are very large number of buyers and sellers. The first keyword in your definition is very large number of buyers and sellers. Very large number of buyers and sellers. This is the first keyword in your definition. And what type of products are being sold? They sell homogeneous products. Homogeneous products. Homogeneous products are identical in nature. Okay, they are identical in nature. That means every firm will be producing the same product. Okay, they will be identical in nature, they will look same, okay, in the shape, size, color, price, okay, in that environment factors in which they are being sold, everything will be homogeneous in nature. Homogeneous means same. So under perfect competition, it is that market structure in which there are very large number of buyers and sellers, and all are selling homogeneous products or identical products, due to which no seller has the power to influence the market price. Okay, no seller has the power to influence the market price. Okay, since there are very large number of buyers and sellers, so I have already told you there will be negligible market share in the total supply of each seller. Okay, there will be negligible market share in total supply. Okay, that means whatever a supplier is supplying, okay, he or she is contributing a negligible share in the total supply because of very large number of sellers, and all of them are selling homogeneous products, that is identical products, due to which they have no power to influence the market of price, and due to which this market structure, the perfect competition, is known as the price taker. They are known as the price taker. That means they do not have any power to influence the price, so they have to accept the price as determined by the market forces in the industry, as determined by the demand and supply in the industry. All the producers who are in perfect competition, they will accept that price. They will be price taker. That is why each seller under perfect competition is known as price taker. All right, and I have already told you that this is an extreme situation. It does not exist in present scenario. In present competitive and globalized world, there is no market form which is perfectly competitive in nature. Okay, so to make you understand the other market forms, you must be knowing the two extreme limits. Like when we were discussing the elasticity, I have discussed two extreme limits. perfectly elastic and perfectly inelastic, and I have told you that there is no existence of such type of elasticities in the present world. But to understand the other elasticities, that is your inelastic, elastic demand, these extreme situations have to be cleared. That is why, due to the same reason, we will discuss perfect competition and after this monopoly, the two extreme situations, to understand the real market structures that are your monopolistic competition and oligopoly that exist in present economies. All right. So now coming on to point wise the features of perfect competition and their implication. Remember one thing, whenever we are discussing any characteristic of perfect competition, it has a particular implication. It results in a particular conclusion. So just writing the characteristics and not writing the conclusion or not writing the implication of that particular characteristic, that is not required. Is it clear?